arts used in the service of healing and education are what I always wanted to do. So it's like finding a path that really helps me to develop that. I had that vision when I was quite young. And it's all about the path of the heart. Transpersonal means beyond the personal. One of our principles is honor the interconnectedness between all beings. That means animals, that means nature, that means all religions, means all races, it means all cultures. I wanted to start a theater. And it was in the genre of the time with the living theater and the open theater. These were all theaters who were experimenting with something called environmental theater. And it was to break down the barriers between actor and audience. The first play was Riot. And riots were happening in the streets at the time. And play really created a race riot in the space by surrounding the audience with very subtle sounds that got louder and louder until a riot happened in sound and movement. And then Tribe, which was the next one, and that play, we initiated children into one of 3 tribes to break down the stereotypes. So they experienced the beauty and the richness of the tribe that they were in, and then they experienced what happened when they were moved off their land and the sound got loud. Get off of your land now, go to that direction. That experience on the reservation, which was just one gray platform, the fighting turned into harmony. And the last line of the play was, and they own the wind. Creation was about the environment. And in the city were all the distortions of society. And in the country, the children were playing. And then suddenly, one of the animals died, step by step, from, of course, the pollution. So they will probably never forget it in terms of being interested in the environment and all the issues with the environment now. We did many kinds of work to bring money in. I had my old teaching certificate, and so I could go into schools in different ways. That was a ticket in. I walked in there and it was like there was no supervision, there was no special needs program in the Boston schools. And so what did I know? I knew how to do theater. So because everybody was at a very different level, we created a store environment in the classroom. And the different levels of math and reading were depicted with different shelves of food. And then people also were helped to role play salesmen, cashiers, the farmers who made the food. And we created theater, but it was theater for learning specific cognitive and social skills. And so what happened naturally was that psychic healing became very much an integrated part of what we did. And I'll give you one example, and that is that this woman who was supposedly our supervisor, and she came in the room. She watched me, she saw my notes, I gave her my notes about my lesson plans, and she said, well, obviously you're more interested in therapy than you are in learning. She did that in front of all my students. There was this one boy who had been locked up in a room like an animal for most of his life. He had no language. I was told he knew nothing, essentially. So after she left, he came up to me and hugged me. He had understood the entire interaction and was able naturally, organically to hug me. That made me see that people just don't understand what people are capable of learning. It was a great lesson. Sun Song was first created for special needs children, saying that if one person in the family seems to have, difficulties, then you have to look at the whole family system. The family, mother, father, sister, brother, they were on their knees so they could look like the children as they came into the space. The children in the audience healed these people puppets by creating dances and songs and healing gifts. Transpersonal psychology evolved in the 1960s when everything was wrong. We have to change every system. We have to change everything going on. What can we do? How can we find a different way? And so drugs became one way for people to experiment, to find a new way out. And the other was spiritual teachers who came from the East. My father always supported everything that we did. And when I took initiation in the Sufi order and tried to explain it to him, I remember him looking at me and saying, Sufi, schmoofy, I just want to know, are you still Jewish? I had kind of stopped some of the rituals I was doing and ended up at a Sufi camp who honor the arts, as this path does, as a way of developing your spiritual identity. So that was the root of it. And then I went to Jerusalem. I prayed at the Kotel, the Wailing Wall, it's called, or the Western Wall of King Solomon's Temple. And that was in one space. And as I was into just sitting there and getting quiet, I heard the davening or praying by people of the Jewish faith who were there doing prayers. And just as I heard that, I heard the call to prayer on the other side of the wall. And it was as loud as the daven. And I went, wow. It was a soundscape. And then, right after, I heard the bells of St. Anne's Church. I just felt they all worked together like this beautiful symphony. And I knew I had to work on the unity of all religions.
The Cosmic Celebration is a theater production of a vision, celebrating the essential unity of the human family. It is an inspiration of Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan, head of the Sufi order in the West. Hello, my name is Saphira Linden, and as the director of the Cosmic Celebration, it has been my privilege to guide the translation process of Pir Vilayat's vision into a theatrical pageant with music, dance, drama, narration, lights, and costumes. In its evolution over the past 11 years, major productions have been staged in Boston, New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, the Alps of Chamonix, France, and London, England, with casts as large as 350 and audiences numbering in the thousands. We use music, dance, and color to recreate the experience of the inner light that all religions help us to remember.
Beyond the dreams and fantasies of our conscious minds, the stage is set for the play of shadows. They are the phantasmagoria of life and death, and hope and fear, and triumph and tragedy. We are all involved in the cosmic drama. How we yearn to see beyond the curtain. How we long to know the mysterious one of whom we are a fragment. If only we could scrutinize the blueprint of our life pattern, understand our role in the play. To sense meaning in our lives, we must grasp the meaning of the whole, the cause behind the cause, and the purpose behind every effect. Tear away the mask of me, uncover the masquerade of Maya, scan the wide spaces, encompass the gigantic dimensions of the pageantry of the heavens. Enact the cosmic play down here. Live it, feel it, suffer with it, rejoice in it, love ourselves in it, and find ourselves in it transfigured and befuddled. For all awakening is consternation of intelligence to discover that which one cannot grasp without being shattered.
Saphira Barbara Linden joins us now on the program this morning as my next guest. She is co-founder and artistic director of Theater Workshop Boston and the Omega Arts Center here in Boston in Jamaica Plain. And she's the producer-director of The Cosmic Celebration, being performed this Friday, April the 1st at the Saunders Theater at Harvard University across the river in Cambridge. Welcome back to the program. Thank you. The Cosmic Celebration is all about, it is a sharing where you say that we are all of one family.
We are all of one family, and we need to break down the distinctions and differences which divide
between
people.
Jew and Catholic and Buddhist.
But not just religions. We need to break down the differences between races, between people of different countries, that all of this creates just tension and chaos. Not saying that we're all alike, but saying that we have something in us on a deeper level that does connect us all. In my experience, in fact, I think that using meditation, using creative disciplines, people can get in touch with who they really are. And who they really are is an incredible, vast potential. That people, I believe, are really beautiful, that really have perfection, and that any therapy can, in fact, say, rather than starting with pathology and all the problems, is to say that I've forgotten in some way who I really am. And perhaps by tuning into something like either a performance like the Cosmic Celebration, which is really a whole process that the performers go through where they really have to tap into who they really are in order to communicate that as actors, as dancers, as narrators, as musicians on the stage. And they go through a whole process. Well, similarly, anybody can do that.
Right.
And this, I think, is what gives people a sense of hope. That, in fact, there are a lot of problems today. We're not trying to say we want to do theater or art that just escapes from all of the realities.
But that looks at the problems.
Looks at the problems. That's right, an optimistic viewpoint, and also saying that we don't have to be victims of what's going on in the government, what's going on in various kinds of problem and challenging situations today.
You can take charge.
In fact, we can take charge.
How can I bring a child into a world on the verge of nuclear suicide? I wish I could feel more hope. What's wrong with me?
Why do I feel so bitter? I wish I could feel free of it.
Those who can feel the depth of the suffering in the world have touched the heart of God.
Will it really make a difference if one person is able to forgive?
Yes.
Can we live with a broken heart and bear the weight of truth without sinking into despair?
Yes.
But we're only human.
Yes.
Do you find, Saphira, that the people in the audiences of Cosmic Celebration rise to their feet?
In fact, at the end of the performance, we do get everybody up into dancing and singing. In February, we had 800 people standing up, moving through the balconies, moving through the aisles, coming onto the stage and dancing, joining hands together, and really becoming together as an audience where suddenly actors, audience, it all breaks down, the distinction, and we really are one human family.
I went into a dark place after the last one at Sanders Theater. What I discovered is that I had done so many practices with light to prepare for it. And we had gotten the best of the best lighting to really try to represent those stages of light. There are many stages in the angelic planes. It just wasn't bright enough. It wasn't true. It wasn't authentic. And since my path was always about seeking the truth, I felt I had failed. And Jung said, if you deny your shadow, it will become your fate. That's what happened with most of the teachers coming from the East in that period. Originally, I started a practice that integrated, at that time, Sufi teachings for personal growth and spiritual guidance. And it was done in the form of retreats, and it was done in the form of individuals.
Breathe deeply. Feel the breath through you, inside of you.
I loved it. I loved doing that work. We were trained in the Sufi world about how to tune into people and what they needed. So we had a lot of practices and a lot of experience doing it by that time. Oh, it just seemed to morph into the therapeutic world. It just kind of organically evolved.
Once upon a time, I came out to my dad. And in that moment, there was a rip. A separation.
I said, Mommy, don't smother me, Mommy, please. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Somewhere, I lost my voice. I was instantly judged that I was brown, and I was found wanting.
A requiem of an addicted self.
Welcome to the funeral of my addictions.
Psychodrama as a healing form is very embodied, and we now know, and Moreno intuited, that a lot of trauma and abuse is held in the body. So you can't do talk therapy and really go through much healing because it's not where the trauma lies. It's physical. So that's one of the most wonderful things that psychodrama teaches us. Psychodrama has 3 parts. The first part is a warm-up, and you can do a lot of different things with warm-ups, but the idea is to get what we call the protagonist, whose story it will be that we work with, get that protagonist warmed up. And if you physically get him or her moving in the warm-up, there's more of a flow of energy with emotional states.
Bright, cognitive part of myself, my mind. Wife, lover, mother, Betty Graham. Carol. Yes. So, the creative, artistic, wise, mystical woman. Trying to just get the end of that.
parts are essentially constricted.
After the warm-up, there's the enactment. And it can take many, many different forms. It can be very intense and deal with very deep emotional issues, or it can be more practical. Like, what are all of the things that you have to choose from at this time in your life to pursue? And you might enact each of those possibilities. Very practical.
This is my problem. If I could just learn to control my urges.
Stop saying that. We both need to be able to experience our passion and our vitality and bring that to our marriage.
I don't want a marriage that's flat with no passion.
That's not what I want.
That's not what I want.
Then Oshun, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you want. I don't know what to do.
I'd do anything for you because I love you so much. I can't stand to see you hurting.
I can't stand this. I mean, what do you want? What is it that you need?
Rivers.
What is it that you want? What is it that you need?
I need me back again. I need me. All of me. You can't do that. I love you more than you know. I'm gonna do this for me. With or without you, I'm gonna do this for me. I'm gonna do this for me.
So I would like you now to become the Aruba High Priestess that you are. And she's going to do her song and her dance, and she's going to really speak to Shinike.
Oshun. Oshunike. Oshunike.
What?
You are my beloved Oshun. Look at your beauty. Do you know, Oshun Nike, why you are beautiful? You represent the beauty in the world, Oshunike. You're the bridge, Oshunike. And your beauty is your honey. It's your honey. They follow you. They follow you. Huh? Huh? Yeah, they follow you. They cross the bridge. This is wisdom. This is wisdom. In all the traditions, this is wisdom, Oshunike. Let the mind steer you where you have to go. And when you get there, let the heart
Menopause is nothing but another bridge. Another walkway. And all along that walkway, there are different challenges, obstacles, but there's also a lot of different scenery along the way. Take it all in. This journey prepares you to be a revered ancestor. You're scared. Mm-hmm. So, it's important to know that if you don't let go, you don't make room for the new things that are coming. Your bundle is too full.
And now coming back to yourself. Can you do what she says? Can you be gentle with yourself? I will. So just breathe that into yourself. She's very powerful. She's with you. Sending them by the collar. Breathe. And then the third stage, which I really think is brilliant. They did such a good job developing this part, and it's called sharing. And what happens is the group, everyone in the group, shares with the person who has now shared so much of their life about parts of their life catalyzed by the drama that was just enacted. And that is very powerful. So there's this wonderful group dynamic where everybody is, in fact, helping everybody else. And there's a wonderful feeling in the groups.
Well, I'm not in pain.
About support, safety, to explore meaningful issues. People really enact real dramas. It's not a fantasy. It's really, what did you go through? What's up for you? What are the challenges emotionally in your life? And the goal, one of the goals, is to create a catharsis, which means a release of energy. It can be crying, it can be laughing. It's very multi-level. Psychodrama, we say, is the first creative arts therapy. After that, we had the development of art therapy, music therapy, dance therapy, poetry therapy. At a certain point, theater people who were also psychologists or teachers said there is way more in theater and theater modalities that could be used in the service of healing. Psychodrama is a great form and it's part of drama therapy. But there's a larger rubric that contains all kinds of other things. Mask making, doing music, doing work with puppets, doing scripting, doing poetry, storytelling. A lot of things that are theatrical modalities. It's very interesting how we developed our Transpersonal Drama Therapy certificate program that Penny Lewis and I developed together. David Johnson, who was one of the founders of drama therapy, suggested that the two of us work together, and that started it. We kind of fell in love with each other and realized that she was the academician and I was the professional theater person, so it was a perfect marriage. She loved psychodrama as much as I did, and we both had spiritual experience, wanting very much to integrate it. So that's how it happened. To really articulate these principles took a couple of years to work out because they come from very deep disciplines and historical ways of healing and current ways of healing. We wanted to really make it crystal clear and universal. So even though for me a lot of these principles come from the study of Sufism, there are also Buddhist principles in these 12 principles. And there's just our own experience of what works, what really works, what is possible beyond staying in therapy for 10 years, even with the most abused person. What works is working with the creative arts therapies, and especially drama therapy and psychodrama. That's what works. Our first principle is that we want to see our clients as healthy and whole, not pathologized. They'll come in with their problem. This one did that to me. I'm depressed. I'm whatever it is. And it's our job as therapists to see that person in terms of who they really are beyond that trauma. Soul qualities are the part of you that never gets tarnished by abuse, by early trauma, by conditioning. So it might be humor, it might be intelligence, it might be creativity, it might be beauty, it might be joy, it might be majesty, it might be any positive thing that really helps you at moments that are difficult.
Om Namah Shivaya.
As a result, the work is to shift your identity from that limited, traumatized, abused sense of self to who you really are. And therein lies the healing. You can't just heal with talking, because that energy, that trauma, that abuse is in your body. If you work with your breath and with helping people tune in to where they're feeling it in their bodies and work with it, magic happens. One of our goals in healing work is to make the unconscious conscious. In dream work, it's about bringing to the conscious symbols and all kinds of other things that we dream. Dreams are very powerful. I love them because it really helps me as a therapist and an educator to know what's going on in my client or student. What we do is embody images that are larger than life. The king, the queen, mischief one, the coyote, the archetypes from the medicine wheel, the archetypes that Campbell talks about, the hero's journey, and finding what your stations are, and creating the monsters that keep you from doing what you want, or the angelic beings that help you by guiding you to the light. So the shadow in human beings is very misunderstood often. People think of it as their bad stuff, their problems, their unresolved issues. In fact, the shadow is anything in your being that is hidden. Sometimes that hidden shadow is about your source of power. Let's say if you were the victim of abuse of power, you might have squelched your own power. So it's how to find your divine power or your positive power in order to move forward. We honor all emotions as sacred. It's my belief that all emotions come from love. And we want to help people get back there. So we can say that frustration, disgust, anger, rage, those are distortions of love. And by entering those emotions, by feeling them out, by playing them out, by creating in a psychodrama a monster with 10 group members and really having to interrelate with that monster that might be your abuser or might be something that happened to you, even being in something like a hurricane. It can be anything that has been traumatic for you. If we play it out, that's very powerful. This is a training, professional training. These are all people who want to use theater and all the arts in the service of healing and education. So we try to create the kind of space, trust, support that allows people to emerge with whatever they feel they want to work with. And what comes out inevitably is something really important. So the assignment was to create a piece that shows your life challenge, sometimes integrated with a social issue, and whatever it is, you also have to do at least a vision of what might be possible. The idea of a performance sharing, it's not really a performance, it's a sharing, and it is a performance also. But as we move towards that, it becomes a gift that these wonderful people are offering you. But it's a gift. And when you offer a gift, you feel like, oh, there's some reason for the shit I've been through. You know, that maybe somebody else will be touched. And maybe they'll be able to go another step, and what a blessing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You are in for the biggest thrill of your life. We are going to be meeting with the special guest, the fabulous, the one and only, Miss Stella Bodacious. Give it up for Miss Stella Bodacious. How are you? Right this way, Stella. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's you. Fabulous, everybody! Hey, y'all. I know you just came off of your whirlwind tour.
I've been everywhere.
Everywhere.
I've been everywhere.
Your new CD is out.
Yeah.
And you just put out your third book of poetry.
You better believe it. You better believe it.
What does that feel like?
Oh, baby, Mommy, is this okay? Is this okay, Mommy? Baby, this is wonderful. It's all wonderful.
I know
It's happening like you wouldn't believe.
Well, you know, I just can't imagine somebody with your talent and beauty and ability. I mean, what inspires you? I mean, I know your mother was like, you know, the world-class diva. What does it feel like to live in her shadow?
Mommy, I am good enough, right? Right? Am I good enough? Honey, it's all natural. It's all natural. I'm telling you, they told me when I came out of the womb, I was singing and dancing and writing and doing all that stuff. It's natural, you know. Some of us have it, some of us don't. You know what I'm talking about.
So fabulous. Well, if you don't mind, I know you have to get off and do your big concert tonight, and you have autographs to sign, but would you mind just blessing us with one of your new poems?
Baby, I'm telling you, you know I'm going to be in Tyler Perry's movie too. Come on. Yeah.
Can we just give her a round more?
I make no apologies for who I am. I am God's spirit rooted in her image and spoken out of his knowledge. I am the water that flows from the Nile. I am the essence. How could anyone ever tell me I was anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell me I am less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that my loving is a miracle? How deeply I'm connected to your soul.
How deeply we're connected to the
I'd like to give recognition to Penny Lewis and Sarah Benson, who inaugurated this program with me some 18 years ago. And I'm going to leave you with this quote. Mary Oliver said, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" And I say, find your calling. Find your purpose. Find the people that you really want to serve. Know that you will get what you need. And if you believe it, it's possible.